assembling the dashboard, creating the perfect layout with containers. In this lesson, we are going to look at using vertical and horizontal containers to ensure that we can perfectly format our dashboard. So let's get back into Tableau. We are going to start building dashboards now. We're going to apply our colors, use our images. So let's get started. So what I want us to do initially is to create a new dashboard. This is where all the magic would happen. The first thing I want us to do, however, is to set the size. It's the first thing I believe you should do with all your dashboards, is to understand the size setting so that when you're building you could align, resize your fonts. I have had many occasions where I've built my dashboard and then was told I have to resize it, and it took forever to resize everything. Let's not do that. So let's click on size. I want this to be able to print very nicely on A4 landscape. So that's what I'm going to do for my settings. So A4 landscape is where I'm going to go with this. By the way, I wish Tableau had an ability to zoom out and in so that I could see my whole dashboard on one page, but it's not the end of the world. However, what I want to first do is discuss the concept of floating, tiled, and containers. So as you know, at the bottom here, if you click floating, you could float your objects wherever you fancy. Nice and easy. The problem with floating when it comes to pixel perfect output is that when you publish to the Tableau server, when you print to PDF, it is never quite perfect. You might have floating misalignments, and in the end it just becomes a real pain because you get complaints, or just don't deal with that type of grief. The other option is to use the tiled view. This is where you can just drag your different objects. I'm just using blanks for now. You drag your different objects into your dashboard, and as you can see, you can move your objects around and resize as you require. However, there's a fundamental challenge with this. While this method is very good for getting started, once you look to produce pixel perfect output, it becomes prohibitive for one key reason. I cannot size these in a way that I would like. If I wanted this box to be tiny, I have limits that Tableau has given me. And also, how many times have you, I'm sure you've done this in the past, you drag multiple objects and you spent time lining these up, and they might not have lined up properly, or you might have some gaps in between. So this is where I'm going to show you why we use vertical and horizontal containers. So let's delete everything for now. We will first start by taking a single vertical container and just dropping it in. So if you look at the layout view, you have the parent and then you have a vertical. This means that I can put as many vertical items as I want inside. For example, I can just drop a lot of different blanks inside. If we go to our layout, you can see them here. Within these, I can drag horizontals. So I now have a horizontal, and I can drag different blanks in there. Now, what does that actually look like? I know we're using blanks, but I'm going to change the background color so we could see it a bit more easier. So we have loads of different blanks in here. Now, you might think that this is not as flexible. It's definitely not as quick, but there's something that we can do here that we could not do before if we did not use this. And that is the following. I can edit width and I can set the number of pixels. So that box just became minute. I can also edit height. So for your vertical containers, you have the ability to set the exact number of pixels for each of your items within. Now this is actually an amazing ability. So I could use my item hierarchy. I can actually set this to be exactly what I want. This allows me to create pixel perfect output when I'm printing, and it's something that I encourage you all to actually take a deeper look into. It's about having containers within containers, leveraging blanks, but the key is that this allows us to format our dashboard perfectly, not to have any misalignments, and to ensure that it looks amazing once we output it. But what I want to do is to click on the vertical at the top and just delete it. This would get rid of everything in between. So now let's build out our dashboard proper. So let's start by dragging a vertical and dropping it inside. Let's go to a layout, ensure that we have tiled and vertical. Let's take a blank and drop it inside. This will give us a bit of control. But within a vertical, the blank adds as a placeholder, so we could place stuff above or below the blank. Let's take a horizontal and drop it up. Let's click on the container and edit the height to 60. So now we have this vertical container, horizontal container, and then a blank. Nice and simple so far. What I want to do now is take an image and drop it into the vertical or horizontal container. Let's fit, let's center, and let's go to choose and select our Google icon. Again, hopefully you've downloaded your own icons. If not, I have uploaded my icons in the image section for you to use. So let's just use that. Click apply, click OK. Now, because this item, this image sits within a horizontal, we should be able to edit the width. So let's make the width 60. Now let's take text and put it across and drop it at the side. Let's call this our Google COVID-19 mobility dashboard. Let's have some fun with the fonts. Let's make it Tableau bold. Let's go to 28 and see what that looks like. That looks pretty good so far. And again, we're able to format our dashboard exactly how we want it. Now, what I want to do is edit the height of this blank and just make it 20. So if you look at it now, we have our vertical, our horizontal, which sits within a vertical container, which has a blank here, which is just adding as an extra bit of padding. Let's drop another horizontal container below. Let's edit the height of this and let's make that 60 as well, just for now. Let's put a blank in there so we can control it a bit better. Again, the blanks allow us to position left or right or top or bottom of the blank. Let's put some text in there for the meantime and let's call this parameters. We will put our actual parameters here, but right now we just have a placeholder. Now, just for fun, let's drag another blank underneath, edit height, make it 20 again. The loads of parameters will go in this slot. We just have a placeholder for now. So we are going to have a little bit of fun now. We are going to build our first main piece of dashboard. So what I'm going to do, instead of building it within our frame that we've built, this beautiful frame, I'm just going to bring out a floating vertical. I'm going to build it here first, and then I'm going to drop it into the frame once I'm completed. So we have this floating vertical. Let's see how we are going to do this. Let's put in a blank, go back to tiled, put in a blank inside for control. I'm going to put 2 horizontals in here. 1 horizontal, 2 horizontal. The reason I'm doing this and the blank I no longer need, so we have 1 vertical with 2 horizontal inside. What I want us to do is to take the image, drop it into the topmost. Let's start off with parks. So let's choose our tree, click OK. Let's put some text to the right of it and let's call this parks. we'll format the text in its entirety later, but let's get the basic mechanics working. So you can see we have this now. Again, because of our use of horizontal floating containers, we can really format this in any which way we want to. So we have the initial section here. Let's double click to go to parents. So when you click on an item within a container, if you double click that, you choose the parent container. From here, let's go to layouts. Let's add a border. Let's add a gray border so we can see it. Let's go to the parent actually, and let's add some inner padding. So we have outer padding on the outside, we have inner padding. So this is looking pretty good. In our actual dashboard, we're going to have some descriptive text here, but that's fine, we'll add it later. So because we have parks, we also have a horizontal container here. I want to take the parks KPI and bam, drop it right inside. I then want to take the trends for parks and drop that to the right. I want to take the moving average for parks and drop that out on the right hand side as well. Let's hide these for now. But as you can see, we have the basic makeup of our data visualization, or at least the basic mechanics. What we are going to do is format this to perfection. So what I want us to do first is let's click on the following. We don't actually need any of the outer padding, so let's get ourselves a bit more space and let's set the size. Well, we can set the size to anything we fancy, but what I'm going to do is set the size to the following: 120. Let's do that for now. What I'm also going to do is, instead of having standard, let's fit entire view. So that's looking pretty good at the moment. I don't like that it goes to the far left, so I'm going to add a blank on the left hand side, and let's set the width of this to be 40 so it matches the icon. So if you look at how if you have a think about how it looks now, the number lines up with the word parks. Looking good so far. What I want us to do now is to format our data visualizations to add the green color. So click on the following visualization, go to sheet, nice and easy. Let's go to color, and hopefully you'll have written your colors down somewhere, but the key is that the color green that we're using is 188038. So that is the green color that we're using. Again, we extracted this from the Google site. I also want to change the color. It's already saved, isn't that lovely? Of the area chart. So we have this nice green color that matches our parks. So let's go to our dashboard. That is looking pretty good. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the moving averages. The key is we are going to make one of these two line charts disappear anyway in our next session, so don't worry about that. In the next tutorial lessons we are going to go through this. But the key thing here is that for the moving average, I want us to change that color as well to the same green. Another thing I want us to do for the daily data, I want us to change the transparency or the opacity to 50%. So do we have a real focus? Another thing I want to do is that we know that it's a date. So what I want us to do is just get rid of that title because it's taking up a little too much space. Formatting wise, let's do a little bit of formatting here as well while we're here. Let's go formats. I want to remove my row dividers because I don't really want them. So that's the top and the bottom, that's gone. I probably don't need my column dividers either. It doesn't add too much value. So we've removed that, I want to right click. I also don't want my headers to be the key price. I'm looking at trends, not exact values, because it's a percentage growth. So I'm going to turn my font to 8 and make it a lighter grey. So that actually that's a little too light, but let's make it slight bit darker. I'm going to do the same with the dates. Right click on the headers, formats. Let's turn this to 8 and make it a slight bit lighter. Let's go back to our dashboard and have a look. That is pretty neat. Let's do the same with our other dashboard. So I want to right click on a blank space, go to format. Let's go format borders. Let's remove our row divider and column divider. That's these top lines. Let's right click on the header, format, and let's make this 8 and the first column the lowest shade of grey. Let's do the same here. And last thing I want to do is get rid of this title. We know it's a date. Does it add a little bit of value? Sure, but let's get rid of that. And let's go to our dashboard now. You can see it's looking good. What would happen eventually is that one of these would disappear and take up the whole of the space. But that is some functionality we will add at a later date. But now we have our parks. We can double click to make sure we pick the parent and we can position. Again, we are going to put this into our frame eventually. But the main thing now is to apply a little bit of formatting, moving some things across. Once we have the toggle between these two, we'll be able to format these charts a lot more effectively. But one final step is to right click and let's add our filters. So we want to make sure country region is available. Let's take this, let's drop it into our parameters. We don't need the text anymore. We are going to do this properly now. Let's click on any of our worksheets, go to filters, and let's select date. Drop this here. Let's resize these. So let's make this for fun 150. See what that looks like. For country region, let's go down and let's select multi-value drop down box. How's that? You see we're getting there. What I want to do is we're almost there. Let's go to parameters, moving day average, and we're just going to put that there for now. We are going to work on this in due course and we are going to make this happen. Lastly, let's format our parameters. Again, for me, I don't want this to really stand out. So again, this is a personal choice. I'm going to make it a shade of grey so you could see it, but it's not really jumping out at you. Stylistic choice for sure, but this is how I roll. So what we're going to do now is build another one of these. So let's build out, just for fun, retail and recreation. We'll build it together, and after that I want you to build out the remaining 4. And once we've done that, we can layer everything together, incorporate it into the dashboard, and then get our first good version. So let's try to do that from scratch. Again, repetition is key. So let's start by clicking floating and bringing a vertical into play. There we have it. Now once we have our floating vertical, we are going to tile things inside it. So what we want to do first is put a blank for control. We want a 2 horizontal, so let's put it above the blanks, 1 between. We have our horizontals, we can get rid of our blank now. This is where it becomes interesting, and again you'll become quicker and faster. Click on Parks, double click to select the parent container. Let's fix the height to 40. So here we're going to fix the height to 40 as well. Let's take an image, drop it inside, fit, center, and let's take the shopping basket. There we go. Let's take the text, drop it on the side. Let's call this retail and recreation. Let's make this Tableau bold and let's make that 12. Right, just click on the image. Let's turn this to 40. You can see we're building this out nicely. Again, let's add some padding. Let's find out what we added before because we want to be 100% consistent. We added inner padding 10. Actually, it's a little too dark. I'm going to make it a little bit light in terms of a border. So inner padding, we're going to match this. We're going to add it, make it 10. Add a border line. So now we have it matching. In the horizontal container below, let's drag in a blank. Let's make this 40. Let's find a KPI for retail and recreation. Let's drop that right here. Let's hide the title because we don't want it. You can see this is building out nicely. We do not want the padding here. Let's remove the outer padding. Again, we're going to set the size, width. Now, as you can see, we're setting the specific dimensions, which is very, very important when you're building perfectly formatted dashboards. Now, as before, I want us to take the trend of retail and recreation, drop it in, hide the title. I want us to then take the moving average, drop that in as well, hide the title. Now, we could do a lot of the formatting from here, which is actually quite fun and interesting. So if you double click on the header, we can get rid of the word date. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to do the same here on the moving average. Nice and simple. I'm going to click on a blank space and format. Go to format borders. Let's get rid of the rows and columns. Again, the more you practice, the quicker it becomes. I'm going to right click on the axis header, go to format, turn it to 8, make the color a little bit lighter so that it's not the main focus of our dashboard. That's a little too light. Again, make sure it's consistent across. Make this 8 and slightly lighter. As you can see, this feels very manual, but however, the output does end up looking a lot nicer than you'd expect. 8 and light. And plus, as I always say, repetition is king. The last thing I want you to do is click on the worksheet, make sure the entire view. But now we have recreation and parks. So what I want us to do now is to try to build out the same for the other 4 KPIs. And once you've done that, we will add those to our frame. So feel free to pause the video now and work on the other 4. And then once you're ready, unpause and then we will continue. So hopefully you have something that looks along the lines of what you see here. Amazing what a few moments can do. The key now is that now that we have these individual containers, they're floating. We now want to add these, so we can move these around. So these in themselves are individual pieces of information. Now, if you think about our actual dashboard layout, we want 3. Going back to the containers, into our main frame, we want 3 horizontals. So I'm going to inject them in here. again, for control, I always say put blanks inside them. Just makes them easier to manage. So we have these 3 horizontals. Just to make things even easier, select inside, that selects the blank. Double click to get the container. Let's just fix the height a bit. Let's fix it to be, say, 300. Let's do the same with the next one. Click the blank, edit the height to 300, and pick the final one. Double click on the handle, edit the height to be 300. So we now have 3 containers. What I want to do now is, let's take the retail. I want us to keep our hand, this way it becomes very delicate. Keep our hand on shift, and now we can drop this to the left hand side of that container. I want us to now click on the residential main container. So here we go. Keep your hand on shift and drag this to the right hand side. But what we've done now is, instead of these being floating now, we've added them to our main container. So let's move these out of the way. We want this to be parks, the next one. Keep your hand on shift, drop it in. Let's move this out of the way. I want to take the workplace, make sure we've got the whole container selected, and drop that to the right. Containers and playing with containers does take some time to get used to, but then you'll get the exact format that you want afterwards. Again, keep your hand on shift, allows you to take a floating and convert it into a tiled situation. Now that we have these, we could probably get rid of the following. The blanks, we don't need them anymore. They were just there to provide with some support. And this is what we should end up with. The one thing I want us to do now also is all the worksheets. I want us to keep a hand on shift, select them all, and hide. So in the end, we should only have our dashboard, which I'm going to call Google COVID-19 Mobility Dashboard. So this is looking pretty good at the moment. You have your country selectors, so we can select different countries. So let me select the United States, for example. That is pretty nifty. So the main thing is, I want you to have a look at this, have a play. In the next section, we are going to learn how to swap these in and out. So I hope you've learned a lot in this lesson. The main thing is containers, horizontal and vertical. If you look at how they're laid out right now, it's pretty much pixel perfect, although I'm going to add one final touch, which is to edit the width. Make sure they're all 600 each. That way that they will perfectly line up, because they'll try to push as much as they can to 600, and because it's greater than the width of the container itself, the parent, it should equalize everything. There you go. Also have a look at your container hierarchy, just to make sure you understand what exactly is happening. So, and this is the cool thing, if you use a more recent version of Tableau, you can actually rename these. So I'm going to call this my header. Rename. Filters. First row. Second row. Third row. And this is what we have so far. Hopefully you have something similar. If not, please revisit the video, and look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.